Is the Middle East sliding toward an all-out war right now? Tensions are escalating fast as the United States sharply increases its military buildup against Iran, while President Donald Trump says Tehran is being closely monitored and makes it clear that a military option remains fully on the table. Iranian officials respond with a stark message, saying that any attack by the United States will be considered nothing less than a declaration of total war. According to Israel's public broadcaster Khan, the commander of U.S. Central Command, General Brad Cooper, is expected to meet senior Israeli officials in Israel today. At the same time, Trump's Middle East Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law Jared Kushner are set to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu later this evening. The Times of Israel reports that alongside discussions on Hamas and the war in Gaza, the Iranian file is also likely to be a central topic. Trump had previously threatened military intervention during protests that erupted in Iran on December 28th, after the collapse of the Iranian rial, warning that Washington would act if protesters were shot or executed, before later suspending the operation. Speaking on Thursday, Trump said all options remain on the table and announced that the United States had sent what he described as an armada toward the region. Vice President J.D. Vance reinforced the message, saying the military buildup is meant to show that the United States has the resources to respond if Iran does something very stupid. Earlier this week, the U.S. Navy aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, accompanied by 3 destroyers, departed the South China Sea and began moving toward the Persian Gulf. An unnamed military official says the Lincoln strike group reached the Indian Ocean by Friday. Reports indicate it could take up to 1 week for the strike group to enter CENTCOM's area of responsibility and reach a range from which Iran could be targeted. And once the deployment is complete, an additional 5,700 U.S. troops will have arrived in the region, while the Pentagon confirms that F-15E fighter jets are already in the Middle East. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom announces the deployment of 4 Typhoon fighter jets to Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar to strengthen defensive capabilities. The UK Ministry of Defence says the deployment was carried out at the request of the Qatari government. Experts analyzing flight tracking data report that numerous U.S. military cargo aircraft are also heading toward the region. The Telegraph reports that Patriot and THAAD missile defense systems have been deployed, signaling preparations against possible Iranian retaliation in the event of a strike. Iranian officials have rejected Trump's threats from the outset, and speaking anonymously to the Times of Israel, one senior Iranian official says Tehran is fully prepared for the worst-case scenario. The official warns that this time, whether an attack is limited or unlimited, precise or broad, kinetic or by any other definition, Iran will treat any strike as a declaration of total war. The response, the official says, will be as harsh as possible. Tensions between Iran and Israel, driven by the Gaza war, turned into direct confrontation in June after Israeli strikes on June 13th were met with immediate Iranian retaliation. During those clashes, U.S. bombers carried out airstrikes on Iran's Isfahan, Fordow, and Natanz facilities on June 22nd, using 14 GBU-57 bunker buster bombs in the operation. Subscribe now for breaking news and real analysis.